So we just talked about hypothyroidism. Now we're going to talk about causes of hyperthyroidism. So too much thyroid hormone. And the very first one we're going to talk about is called Graves' disease. This is an overactivity of the thyroid gland because you have these immunoglobulins that are going to stimulate the thyroid gland. They're going to bind to TSH receptors and stimulate the thyroid gland. And so remember, this is a type 2 hypersensitivity where the antibodies directly cause their damage. Where type 3 was where antibodies bind to the antigen and they make a complex, and this complex is going to deposit in various areas, and that complex deposition is what causes damage. In this one, you get direct damage from the antibodies. So clinical features of this are you're going to get hyperthyroid symptoms. Okay. Actually, let me just go back to this pathophysiology and show you what's going on here. So this is our TSH receptor in the green, and we have our yellow antibodies. So this antibody is going to stimulate that receptor, and it's going to stimulate the receptor on the thyroid, the TSH receptor on the thyroid. It's going to cause the thyroid to make more T3 and make more T4 and release it into the circulation. And you're going to have too much thyroid in the circulation. It's going to be causing all the symptoms. You're going to get hyperthyroid symptoms. And it's going to be classically in a woman of childbearing age. Remember, all these autoimmune problems very commonly affect women of childbearing age, so middle age or younger, so women from 20 to 40 years old. And just a quick recap, what were the hyperthyroid symptoms that you would see? Remember that you would see the symptoms from too much metabolic activity with heat production. So you could see the heat intolerance. They feel really hot in a normal room. You're going to get weight loss because they're burning all that energy. You get warm and moist skin. And then you can have sympathetic overstimulation. Remember, that was another key function of the thyroid hormone. So you can get diarrhea, you get hyperactivity and restlessness. Your heart's beating too fast, so you get tachycardia. And then you have other symptoms. You have the menstrual symptoms of oligomenorrhea. You can get the increased deep tendon reflexes. And then you get this stuff: pretibial myxedema and ophthalmopathy with exophthalmos. So these are very, very long words. It's basically edema in the pretibial area and edema. The pretibial area is the lower legs, and edema around the eyes. And this happens because you have fibroblasts in these areas behind the orbit and over the shin. These fibroblasts also express the TSH receptor. Okay, so fibroblasts with these TSH receptors. Okay, this TSH receptor. And so these antibodies are going to come and stimulate these as well. And it's going to cause fibroblasts to release these glycosaminoglycans. We're going to abbreviate that with GAG. They're going to deposit glycosaminoglycans around where they are. So around the shin and behind the orbit. So that's why you get this edema, pretibial mixed edema. And you get this deposition behind the orbit. And it's going to cause eye problems and exophthalmos. Remember, exophthalmos was bulging of the eye, and it's due to that too much stuff behind the orbit. So the way we treat this, how would we treat the symptoms of sympathetic overstimulation? Remember, sympathetic overstimulation was through the alpha and the beta receptors. So if you can give them beta blockers, that can treat their symptoms. And if you want to reduce the amount of thyroid hormone that's produced, you have a couple options. You either do radioiodine ablation, you give them anti-thyroid medications, or you do surgery. I'm going to talk more about the pros and cons of these later. But just a brief overview, radioiodine ablation means you give radioactive iodine. Remember, where is this uptaken? Where is this concentrated? This gets concentrated in the thyroid cells. So they're going to uptake that radioactive iodine. If that radiation is going to damage the thyroid, it's going to reduce the amount of hormone it produces. And an anti-thyroid medication, the way this stuff works is it first of all decreases production of thyroid hormone, and PTU also reduces conversion of T4 to T3. And normally this happens because T3 is the more active form. PTU decreased conversion of that, you get decreased T3, decreased active thyroid hormone. And finally, surgery just removes thyroid tissue that's making too much hormone. So the other cause of hyperthyroidism is toxic multinodular goiter. This is hyperplasia of thyroid nodules, and you get increased activity and increased hormone release. And this arises from chronic iodine deficiency. So why would you have a multinodular goiter from chronic iodine deficiency? What happens is if you have chronic iodine deficiency, you get decreased T3 and T4 because you need iodine to make that. So what's going to happen? What happens in our hypothalamic pituitary axis? Because we have decreased of this stuff, there's decreased feedback inhibition, so your TSH levels are going to increase. And then your TSH is going to stimulate the thyroid gland. It's going to keep beating on the thyroid gland. It's going to cause the thyroid gland to proliferate. It's going to cause hyperplasia of thyroid nodules. And then these hyperplasia of thyroid nodules, sometimes they won't make hormones because maybe you're iodine deficient, but sometimes they can have increased hormone release, in which case you would have hyperthyroid symptoms. So that's unclear. So usually this is euthyroid, but you can have hyperthyroid symptoms. So these are our two main causes of hyperthyroidism, and this one is by far the most common. It's very hyotopic Graves' disease. Okay, next is thyroid storm. This is an acute exacerbation of hyperthyroidism. This can result in a life-threatening hypermetabolic state. So I want to say this is a patient with hyperthyroidism already, but this is an acute exacerbation. So normally they're just hanging around with their symptoms controlled, but then for some reason it gets a lot worse. And reasons why it can get a lot worse include things like surgery, stopping thyroid suppressing drugs, or acute stress. So why would surgery cause an acute exacerbation? And specifically surgery of the thyroid gland? Because you're manipulating the thyroid and you're pushing all that hormones out of the thyroid into the systemic circulation, and you're causing this thyroid storm. Stopping thyroid suppressing drugs, they make sense. Normally you're decreasing thyroid hormone production with these drugs, but if you stop that, you get sudden release, you get too much release of thyroid hormone, you get thyroid storm. Finally, acute stress, such as infection or trauma. Why would this happen? What happens in acute stress? What hormones get released? Remember, you get stress-induced hormones of stress-induced catecholamines, so norepinephrine, epinephrine. That's why whenever you're stressed, you're in a fight or flight mode, you have all this epinephrine, norepinephrine. And this stuff is going to worsen the already hyperadrenergic state of hyperthyroidism. Remember, hyperthyroidism, thyroid hormone stimulates that sympathetic nervous system. So you can get way too much stimulation in the sympathetic nervous system, you get that thyroid storm. And the clinical features you're going to see altered mental status, progressing from agitation to coma, and you get all these sympathetic symptoms. You get that fever. Fever is actually from also too much heat production from that increased metabolic activity, and then you get that tachyarrhythmia from that sympathetic stimulation. So the way we treat thyroid storm, this is a very severe disease. You gotta give them the 4 Ps. You gotta throw everything at them. You gotta throw them the beta blockers, for example, propranolol. Give them PTU. Remember, that's a anti-thyroid medication. You give them steroids such as prednisolone, and you give them potassium iodide. So I just told you, decreases the sympathetic symptoms, decreases sympathetic overactivation. PTU is one of the anti-thyroid drugs. This blocks conversion of T4 to T3. Okay, so there's less of that. Steroids do the same thing. Steroids block conversion of T4 to T3. You have less thyroid hormone. And finally, potassium iodide reduces thyroid hormone release. Okay, these are our 4 Ps, the way you treat thyroid storm. Now, I want to go back to Graves' disease and its treatment, which we talked about. What were the 3 treatments for the Graves' disease? What were the 3 options? Remember, 3 options include anti-thyroid treatment, so things like PTU and methimazole. You give them radioiodine ablation. You can give them surgery. So side effects. What are the side effects of anti-thyroid medications? The biggest one, the one that you have to remember, is agranulocytosis. So that means a very low white blood cell count, especially low neutrophils. And why do you care? Why do you not want agranulocytosis? What are you at risk for? You're super at risk for infections and sepsis if you don't have enough neutrophils or white blood cells, because you need those to fight the infection, to prevent the infection. So that's why you have to be extra careful not to get this agranulocytosis when you're giving these anti-thyroid medications. Now, methimazole in particular, you don't want to use in the first trimester because it's a teratogen. It can cause birth defects. Remember that the first trimester is when the fetus is most at risk, it's most susceptible, because that's when its organs are developing. So that's when you can have something go wrong with organ development and cause irreversible problems. So during the first trimester, you give PTU. So during first trimester pregnancy, you give PTU. Now the problem with PTU is that you can get liver failure. Okay, so PTU can cause liver failure, and methimazole can cause birth defects, both causing granulocytosis. Next is radioiodine ablation. What is the problem here? First of all, you can get radiation side effects, simple stuff. You can get permanent hypothyroidism because you just damaged the whole thyroid. Remember, the whole thing here is we're giving them iodine that's radioactive. Thyroid takes it up. If you get thyroid takes up too much, the whole thyroid gets damaged. You get permanent hypothyroidism. These patients are going to have to be on thyroid hormone for the rest of their life because they're not making their own. And finally, you can get new or worsening of ophthalmopathy. Okay. Finally, surgery. Again, permanent hyperthyroidism. If you take all the thyroid, you can also get damage of the parathyroid glands. So you can get hypoparathyroidism, and then what would be the resulting electrolyte deficiency? You would have resulting hypocalcemia. Remember, that's the function of parathyroid hormones to increase calcium levels. Finally, you can get recurrent laryngeal nerve damage. This is a branch of the vagus nerve, and if you damage this nerve, you can get hoarseness. So you can see this a lot, actually. Recurrent laryngeal nerve damage from surgery of the thyroid gland. So that is it for hyperthyroidism. We talked about hyperthyroid, Graves' disease, the multi-nodular disorder. Graves' disease is the one to know. And then we talked about the thyroid storm, which is an exacerbation of hyperthyroidism. You get a life-threatening hypermetabolic state. And then we finally we talk about Graves' disease treatments. These are the 3 treatments. These are all the side effects. And so that's it for our hyperthyroidism lecture.